Hello everyone and welcome to my video on how does procure to pay process work in D365 Finance and Operation. This process involves purchasing goods or services and paying for them, and it's an important part of any business. In this video, I'll walk you through the different stages of procure to pay process in D365 Finance and Operation, including the purchase requisition and request for quotation stages. The first stage in procure to pay process is the purchase requisition. This is where someone in the company identifies the need for a product or service and creates a requisition for it. In D365 Finance and Operation, this can be done through the procurement and sourcing model. And once the PR is created, the next stage is to create a request for quotation. This is where the company requests quotes from potential vendors for the goods or services they need. In the 365 Finance and Operation, this can also be done through the procurement and sourcing models. Vendors can respond to the RFQ with their quotes. And based on the quotes and the purchase requisition, the next stage is to create a purchase order. This is where the details of the purchase are finalized, such as the quantity and the price of the product or service. In D365 FNO, the purchase order can be created in procurement and sourcing module, and it can be sent to the vendor for confirmation. After the purchase order is confirmed by the vendor, the next stage is to receive the goods or services. This is done through the receipt process in D365 Finance and Operation. The person who receives the goods or services will enter the details into the system, such as the quantity and quality of item received. Once the good or services are received, the vendor will send an invoice. This is the final stage in the procure to pay process. In D365 FNO, the invoice can be matched to the purchase order and receipt. This ensures that the invoice is accurate and that the payment can be processed. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like in our environment. So I am at a purchase requisition form. This can be opened by going in through procurement and sourcing model, purchase requisition or purchase requisition. I'm going to create a new purchase requisition. Give it an appropriate name. So our purchase requisition is created. Let's go add a line to this. Change the legal entity. Add the item number 0002. And save this form and give it a proper warehouse. And for this vendor, we don't have any unit price or vendor account. We are going to pull that vendor account at price by using RFQ. We can also enter it manually, but we are going to use RFQ for this process. Let me save this. And submit a workflow. And yes, workflow is a very mandatory step in processing a purchase requisition. I've already created one simple workflow. And how to create a workflow is a separate topic for another video. Submit this. And after submitting the workflow, request for quotation button gets enabled. Let me open this. Select the legal entity. Okay. Request for quotation 005-000-51 is created. We can view this RFQ from here. or we can view it from procurement and sourcing, request for quotation, all request for quotation. This one. The first step in after creating a RFQ is to select the vendors that we want to send these quotes to. So you can do it by going into header and get this form. Select the vendor account 1004 and 001. Okay. Save this and now send this RFQ. This is a summary. Okay. And as you can see on the screen, RFQ has been sent to vendor. Now we have to enter the replies from vendors. So we can do it by going into manage replies form. Click on any vendor. Click on edit drop down, edit RFQ. And go into lines and enter the unit price 100. So this vendor is saying 100 for per unit. Submit this bid. Same for the second vendor. Edit drop down, edit RFQ. Enter the unit price. Say this one says 80. Save this form and submit this bid. Now operation is completed. Let me go ahead and close this form. And after receiving replies from multiple vendors, we can go into compare replies form. And here we can compare the different bid submitted by our vendors. So by taking a look at this, vendor number 1001 seems more better than its competitor. So let me go ahead and select this. If I select the header, then the line will also get selected. And now accept this bid. And by accepting this means that we will be rejecting the other one. So this is this form automatically comes for rejection of 1004, another vendor. So one vendor is selected, one is rejected. And let's go ahead and see what happened to our purchase requisition. And as you can see on the screen, the unit price and the vendor account number has been populated using a request for quotations. So let's go ahead and submit this, approve this workflow. Wait for a second. And as you can see on the screen, purchase requisition has been approved. So let's go ahead and release this purchase requisition line. So to do that, we have to go into procurement and sourcing module, purchase requisition, and under that approve the purchase requisition processing, and under that release approve purchase requisition. So this was our purchase requisition number. Let me select this and now create a new purchase order for this. So a new purchase order number 196 has been created. We can view the purchase order by going into procurement and sourcing purchase order or purchase order form. This one, let me open this one. And as you can see, the line details are captured from purchase requisition, quantity and unit price, and the vendor number also. And if you want to make any changes in this purchase order, we can do it at this stage, as it is an approved and open order. But we're not going to make any changes. We're just going to go ahead. So the next step after creating a purchase order is to get it confirmed, and that can be done in going into purchase tab and clicking on confirm. And now a purchase order has been confirmed. The next step is to receive this purchase order, and we can do it by going into receive tab, product receipt. Check the lines. Everything looks good, and enter a product receipt number. Me copy this purchase order number and click OK. So our purchase order is now received. And now for the final step, invoicing. We can do it by going into invoice tab and generate invoice. Enter the invoice number. We're just going to use the purchase order number, and enter any description if you want, and update the match status to passed by clicking on this button. Now this has been passed, and now for final step, post this invoice. And that's it. Our procure to pay process in D365 Finance and Operation has been completed. I hope this helped you. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video.